Alright, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm just going to share with you my thoughts on the upcoming Badminton Asia Individual Championship, which will be taking place next week in Dubai. So it is actually a Super 1000 series, in terms of a BWF Grade 2 tournament. So the points awarded would be very high. Definitely this will be an extra motivation for all the players to do well. And if you look at the level of competitiveness in Asia specifically, badminton is definitely one of the most competitive sports. So without further ado, let me just go into today's topic. I'll just be focusing on the men's singles. As you can see here, you can only see 4 matches, right? This is because as I skimmed through the best of 32 around, I noticed that these 4 matches will be the ones that will be very intense, I foresee. Okay, if you look at the first match, Jonathan Christie, who is actually the top seed of this tournament, because he is now, I think, world rank number 2, up against a resurgent Shi Yuqi from China. And interestingly, I didn't expect that Jonathan Christie actually has the upper hand in terms of the head-to-head record. But this is definitely going to be a very interesting match to watch, simply because we all know Jonathan Christie is an all-rounder player. He can be quite good in attacking, quite good in defending, and his physique is also quite strong, very athletic. But he might have a little bit of a nerve wracking issue, especially when in closing out the set, as we have seen previously when in his match against Cho Tian, I think twice last year. But anyway, up against Yuqi, I think we do not need to introduce him further. Definitely and arguably maybe the top 2 strongest Chinese men's singles player at the moment. Very athletic as well, very defensive. He is a player known for his defensive skills and his ability to actually counter attack. Very good capability in reading the court and his opponent pretty well. But sometimes he seems to be not that consistent when facing against perhaps not the topmost players, but whenever he's up against strong players like Li Zijia and a few others, he's usually really fired up to actually win the match. So very interesting match. It's a little unfortunate that these 2 strong players have to clash as early as the first round, but the better player wins. The second match that I am looking forward to is actually Loh Ken Yew against Lakshya Sen. This was supposed to be taking place, I think, maybe in the Commonwealth Games semi-final or final, but unfortunately Loh Ken Yew was shocked by another up-and-coming Malaysian player, Ziyong. But anyway, that's for another story. Loh Ken Yew and Lakshya Sen, I believe, both have trained with Victor in his own training academy before. Loh Ken Yew, the world champion in 2021, up against Lakshya, the world bronze medalist, I think, in 2021 World Championship. So we all know Ken Yew is one of the very few players who can consistently defeat the best player of the world at the moment, Victor Axelsen. He seems to found the secret recipe to do that, not once but twice. So but he has been struggling recently in terms of consistency, in terms of finding back his ultimate rhythm, I would say. His recent performance has nothing much to be shout about. The same goes with Laksha. I think Laksha has been having quite a quiet year this year so far, and it will be interesting to see whether this match would really bring the best out of these two highly potential players. And let's go counter clockwise, right? So the third match, Lizija and Ankalo, another very fierce match, I would anticipate, simply because Angus Ankalo has been on a super form this year. He has reached very deep into almost each and every of the tournament that he has played this year so far. Semi-finals, finals, and I believe he has also captured one of the titles. So after like 2 or 3 years drop of title, so Angus definitely has the momentum, the better momentum compared to Zizia so far. And as you can see, even his head-to-head record, he's actually leading Zizia 2-1. But we shouldn't read too much into this because their 2 previous encounters was back in 2019, and as we all know, this year's match was won by Angus. So on the other hand, if you look at Lizija, who has been struggling since the end of last year, but seems to show signs of recovery in terms of his form, beginning from his semi-final play at the All England, and then he repeated that consistency in the subsequent tournament, if I recall correctly. So 2 semi-finals in a row definitely is a good sign for him. It's a positive sign, and perhaps that explains why I think this match will go down the wire again, right? And finally, the fourth match that I'm really looking forward into is the match between Lee Chok Yu and Ng Ziyong. So Lee Chok Yu, just like his Hong Kong counterpart, has also been playing some decent amount of quality badminton recently. So he is definitely showing us the momentum, better momentum compared to Ng Ziyong. But Ng Ziyong, we all know that we can still recall vividly how he actually outplayed, outclassed, outwitted the world number 1, Victor Axelsen, the reigning Olympic and world champion. So that match was really a memorable match for, I think, all of us, especially the Malaysians. But Ng Ziyong seems to be struggling against especially players from China, from Japan, and Chinese Hong Kong, I think, as well. He seems to be struggling to adapt to probably the Asian way of playing. But anyway, I wouldn't want to read too much into that. And if you look at their most recent encounter, which Ziyong has won in quite a dominant style, that sort of neutralized the difference between them in a little bit, not too much. So yeah, this is definitely one of the 4 matches which I would really look forward to watch. Having said that, I'm not discounting the quality and the intensity of other matches, but if you look at the draw here, it is fairly straightforward that we can sort of anticipate the outcomes of most of the match, right? With the exception of the 4 matches I have listed out in the previous screen. right? So this is the one, this is the one, this is the one, and this is the one, the 4 matches that will go down the wire. For the rest, it should be pretty much predictable, as I mentioned. Kodai should advance against the qualifier from Group C. He should be facing off Srikan in round of 16. Cho Tension shouldn't be Cho Tension is one of those players who can sort of defeat everyone, except for Victor Axelsen, but he seems to be able to do so, I think, in the Swiss Open, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, so probably against a much jaded looking Victor Axelsen, so that is why he didn't really celebrate after his victory, but we'll see. I'm pretty sure Cho Tension can do well in this tournament, I think. Up against the winner of the match between Lu Guangzu and Canterford, so this is actually quite a close match, I would anticipate, but I think Lu Guangzu might have the slight edge. Chico against Dimitri. I think it's really difficult for Dimitri to turn the table upside down. Pranoy should be a walk in the park for him, I guess. Kanta, sort of guaranteed. Li Shifeng against Jeon Hyuk Jin. There could be a little bit of resistance from Jeon Hyuk Jin, the seasoned campaigner. We have seen that he can actually play quite some resilient and stubborn style of defense. Especially, I can still recall the match he played against Li Zijia. I believe it's 2 years ago in the Badminton Asia Mixed Team Championship. So he almost forced an upset, but we know that Li Shifeng has been in superb form, having won the All England Championship. So definitely he's high in confidence, and I think Li Shifeng should be the strong favorite. And do not forget that he has also played very well in many of his matches so far since the beginning of last year, right? So where he also almost captured the Thailand Super 500 Open last year with a narrow defeat to Li Zijia. Yeah, definitely one of the strong favorites. Up against likely Kunlavut. Now this is interesting. Kunlavut against Li Shifeng. This will be a very interesting clash. We all know that Kunlavut is another rare breed of players who can defeat Victor Axelsen. And we all know that Kunlavut is also very resilient in terms of his defense. So it will be very interesting to watch. Kenta Nishimoto, who seems to be, I think if I'm not wrong, he has captured his second title in the past 2 years. So definitely another player to come for. Wang Zui and Ginting, I think, judging from their head-to-head, I think Ginting has a superior head-to-head record, 6-2 or something. So Ginting will be the favorites. And so this is it for this video. I hope that you have enjoyed watching, and do comment down below on your take for this Badminton Asia Championship, the individuals category for men's singles.